You can't stop going back to your ex. The moment you had the big walking out, saying it's the final time, and in less than 3 days, you're crying in each other's arms and making up. You love them and you hate them. You don't want them back because you know they're not good for you, but you also can't live without them. You feel stuck. I hear you. Studies report that 34 to 66% of adults have had an on and off relationship, with reconciliation after breakups as high as 45% among young adults. I'm Jourdan Travers, a licensed psychotherapist. I've seen this cycle play out countless times, and today I'm discussing how to stop going back to your ex. Back in 2021, researchers followed 545 people in both same-sex and opposite-sex relationships over the course of 15 months. What they wanted to know was simple. What actually happens when couples keep breaking up and going back together? And the results were striking. Those who fell into on and off again patterns showed significantly higher symptoms of anxiety and depression, not just once, but consistently. The more cycling a couple experienced, the more distress built up. What's powerful here is that the study shows it's not only the heartbreak of a breakup that hurts, it's the unpredictability, the instability itself that wears people down psychologically. It feels like being trapped in a loop of hope and pain. You try to let go, but the moment your ex reaches out, you're swept away by emotions and pulled right back in, even though you know it will hurt you all over again. Sometimes the pain is so overwhelming, you find yourself screaming into a pillow, wondering how someone you gave years of your life to could throw it away so quickly. It cuts so deep that you start questioning your own worth. Other times, it's the weight of the relationship itself. It feels like you're managing someone else's anxiety 24/7, doing emotional acrobatics that are off the charts just to keep the peace. Their neediness becomes suffocating, and you start to crave escape. And then there are the moments when it just feels unbearable. You're trying to function, trying to move forward, but the pain sits heavy on your chest, and you wonder if you'll ever feel like yourself again. I get it. The same team of researchers, they wanted to understand what happens when couples with a history of on-again, off-again instability finally separate or divorce. They studied 98 couples who were either divorcing or had already separated. They wanted to see, does the history of breaking up and reconciling make the separation more painful, or strangely, does it make it a little easier? The results were fascinating. For women, having gone through those cycles of breaking up and making up, it seemed to make the final separation slightly less distressing. In some cases, it almost created a sense of relief, like the instability had already worn them down, so leaving felt like a release. But for men, the story looked different. A history of relationship cycling was actually linked to greater distress during and after separation. The repeated instability seemed to leave them struggling more when the final split came. The point is, these cycles don't just affect you while you're in the relationship, they shape the way you experience the ending itself. Whether it feels like relief or devastation, the cycle leaves its mark. So the question remains, how do you finally put an end to it? Before we move forward, don't forget to hit the like button and to make sure to subscribe to our channel for weekly research-backed insights. You know, one of the biggest mistakes people make after a breakup is thinking that they can just power through it. Go back to work, hang out with friends, maybe even jump on a revenge diet just to show their ex what they lost. But that doesn't heal you. It actually just keeps you tied to them because your motivation is still about them. The truth is, heartbreak is grief. It's the death of the life you thought you were going to live. That's why you feel it in every cell of your body. You wake up reaching for them. You hear their voice in your head when something happens. You imagine telling them news even though they're gone. Your nervous system is still wired to theirs, and untangling that takes time. That's where no contact comes in. And I want to be clear, this isn't about punishment or punishing them. It's about protection and protecting yourself. 30 days, no contact. Not a single text, not a scroll through their photos, not one replay of their voice memos. Because the moment you hear their voice or see their face, your brain lights up like a Christmas tree, and every old pattern rushes back in. And with that comes the urge to text them, to call them, to check in and see how they're doing. So stop, really, just stop. You deserve a clean break so your nervous system can begin to unlearn them. But no contact alone isn't enough. You have to clear the space around you too. Hide the pictures, tuck away the gifts, delete the playlists. I know it feels brutal, but every little reminder reactivates the bond. The goal is to give your heart and your body a chance to quiet down. And then, and this is the part people hate, you have to let yourself grieve. You don't distract yourself. You don't skip to self-love. You don't get back out there before you're ready. You sit with the loss. You cry. You scream into the pillow. You admit to yourself that this hurts like hell because the only way out is through. Slowly, you start redirecting your energy, not as a way to prove something to your ex, but for you. Maybe it's running. Maybe it's painting. Maybe it's finally reading the books that have been sitting on your nightstand for years. Whatever it is, it reminds you that there is a self outside of this relationship, and that's worth building. Reflection helps too. I tell my patients, write down the reasons you left. Write the patterns that kept wounding you, the red flags you ignored, the moments that broke your trust. Because the day will come when you're tempted to text them, and you'll need proof from your own hand that going back will only reopen the wound. And please, don't do this alone. Healing is heavy, and sometimes you can't carry it by yourself. Friends, therapy, even online communities, they remind you that you're not broken and lost. You're just grieving, and you don't have to grieve alone. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.